What is up, guys? Local Bulls fan here. Draft night came and went, and I'm a little late to the party, but I'm doing my little research on everything because I was gonna have a draft video on guys who I would see with the Bulls, and I was doing research on that. But then I was like, you know what? They might not even make a move, so let me just wait and see and do a reaction video and invest more research on that versus guys I like in the first round. So smart idea. And now that the draft, press conference, everything happened, I very much want to get into what happened at the press conference. The 3 new players reportedly going to be on the Bulls, and just dive right into pros and cons, things like that. So let's first start off with Julian Phillips. So AK traded into the second round at pick number 35 from the Washington Wizards to get Julian Phillips. I'm going to start off with NBA comp because that's always fun. Everyone likes doing the comparisons. I know that's one of my favorite parts. Doing with our very own Derrick Jones Jr., who opted out, and Jared Vanderbilt, one of my favorite players. So just listing off some of my pros here. He's just a great defender, very versatile, which I always, I like. He could seem like he could defend at a high level. He's a solid passer, definitely capable and aware of when it's time to move the ball, the open man, know when you're not open. He's a great slasher, cutter, great moving off the ball, which is great for the NBA. A lot of times we see highlights of guys like, oh my gosh, he's great, I would want him on my team. But if he has the ball in his hands the whole time for all the highlights, that's when I'm kind of well, slow down there, slow down, Because especially if it's in the post, in my opinion, that's one thing I'm always conscious of. If they're posting up the whole time, you get 5 dribbles in for them to get their bucket off, even if it's a turning jump shot, if they're Kobe, you're not getting that shot in the league. You're not. Very few guys get that shot, and you're definitely not gonna be one of them. So I'm glad he's definitely not like that at all. Very athletic, great, pick and roll finisher. Some cons. His jumper needs work. He's a great free throw shooter, shooting at 80%. Great. Overall great. But his shot needs work again, which, Peter Patton's going to help him with, which I'm not too concerned about. I saw on Twitter and was reading that he was a great shooter in AAU, so maybe if he gets back to that, who knows? I could definitely see him being capable and being an NBA level player. Next one, Adama Saniago. I hate when people mispronounce my names, butcher it on purpose. I don't mind when people try. But my name's Alejandro, by the way, so that's always gets mixed up. So I'm trying to make sure I get these names right. So for him, my player comparison was Thad Young and Draymond. What I liked about him is definitely, again, a solid passer, even better than Julian Phillips. We picked him up off a 2-way. I don't know how he didn't get drafted. One of the draft sites I look at is Kevin O'Connor's just mock draft breakdown, because he gives an in-depth analysis of pros and cons, stats, and where he thinks he's going. And Santiago was definitely one of those people that was going to be drafted, which was, surprising. He's a whole UConn champion. I don't understand, but better for the Bulls. Great pick and roll finisher. Just off of the college rips, I think of Io, how we picked him up very much college success, but then NBA was kind of So we'll see how that goes. And overall, I like the way he's crafty. He's capable of scoring well. He's not just needing to dribble the ball. He does that a lot, but he doesn't need to always do that. It's not where his scoring could be relied upon. He's great hook shot. Defense, very solid build. I could see him playing small ball center coming into the league. Great center in the G League, doing his thing. But overall, I hope he develops into more of a power forward in his role, just because he's some of the cons is he can't score over taller defenders because he's trying to Kareem hook it, and that's not really working. His jumper needs work, but he's definitely capable. Again, that's where Peter Patton comes in, and he's just man's gonna do OT with all these guys, getting their jumpers right and everything. So far, what I liked about these two is they're NBA level like defenders in my opinion, which I hope so. I could definitely see them, molding into it, molding, part of the team and whatnot. These You're not getting people to solve your problems in the immediate future, especially when you're trying to contend. But these guys are definitely in the right direction of where you need to be. Especially like I remember when we were just coming back from COVID, UC needed bodies on the floor, and these guys could be that, learning through their mistakes when it's time to play in the NBA. Just being able to stay in front of somebody goes a long way, especially when you're a role player, because everyone could score in the league, but not everyone needs to score in the league. So the last guy, I gotta get better with his first name. I'm not even gonna try it. I'll put it in there, but Bidham, he was a great steal, great, like, if the two-way contract's true and they're waiting to see how he looks in the summer league, I like this guy. I definitely do. So my automatic thought with his jumper was like Matt Thomas. Obviously, I think he's gonna be better than Matt Thomas, but it just reminded me of JJ Redick and Marco Bellinelli in that 2018 76ers run. I remember watching their playoff run specifically. Just the unbalanced shooting, being able to pass out when it's time, cutting, things like that. Overall, I like that about his game. He's capable of dribbling the ball, but that's not really needed from him. And I just overall like the consciousness, though, of like, all right, if I cut here and he knows he's going to be blocked, he's able to pass it out. His shooting is like phenomenal. He's definitely quick release. That's one of the things I like about him. I instantly compared him to JJ and Marco Bellinelli. And then just overall, just a scorer. He plays larger than what he is, but he's just like, he's there. That's why I think of Marco Bellinelli. It's that awkward sits forward to sits height where you don't really know. It's not really like listed too much. One of the cons I have is like one-on-one defense. Watching his highlights, they were showing his blocks, and a lot of the times like the blocks they were good, but it's coming from him like losing his man. But his team defense is overall solid. And do I feel like he's going to come in right away and be, this automatic shooter? I hope so. But I definitely, I don't want to put too much pressure on these guys. Not to say that they're not promising, but I don't want to, expect the world from them. That's not fair either. They're not going to be solving all of the Bulls' problems. But it's the step in the right direction. AK did his work here. I gave him a C+ for, everything he did. The more I think about it, I think it's A+ work, just C+ execution in terms of he didn't really land a first round pick, and I want to make sure I keep my standards high. I don't want to drop my guard. But overall, we said he needs to get crafty in the offseason. He needs to really lock in and see what he can get, and this is great. This is beautiful, honestly. You got two guys coming out of college. They're fairly young, capable defenders, capable passers. It needs work on the jumpers in terms of offense, but overall they have a great feel for the game. Great, Saniato could definitely be a great big defender, while you have Phillips being a wing, and wings don't come cheap in the league. We all know this. They don't grow on trees either. So overall, getting in the right direction, all right, we're gonna have to develop our role players, develop these guys, goes a long way. It helps out a lot, especially with Bidham, who I really feel could shoot at the NBA level. That's one thing I'm not really concerned. Coming off of the screen, catch and shoot, it'll look great. It'll be great. Him passing it when he knows he doesn't have the shot, that's one thing definitely will be needed on this team. Overall, I like these guys. I like the work that's done. I shit on AK a lot, but this is some solid work that he did in the draft night. Use what he can. Mind you, we don't know the details on the trade yet for Julian Phillips, but let's see if it, does anything else with the Washington Wizards. I know they're taking on bad contracts, so let's just see. And then another thing I want to cover in this video, not so much of these guys, but the luxury tax. AK was talking about that if You know, he was in the playoff race. You know, ownership is going to let him go into the tax. I'll believe it when I see it, but if, you know, they're able to just do that a little bit, mind you, because you can't pass a certain point now in the luxury tax threshold, because then it's going to like handicap you from making actual moves, from going above and beyond to do different things. You can't pull a Golden State anymore. Phoenix is definitely an anomaly that's going to shoot themselves in the foot 2 seasons from now. But overall, I hope we could go into luxury tax. You bring back, you know, a guy like Pat Bev maybe. I don't want to. My main concern is overpaying for a role player from another team, expecting them to do more. Kind of like how I talked about, you know, these guys coming in, seeing what they could do like in the summer league coming up. I'm gonna talk about this in another video, but I just hope we're not gonna overpay another player to try to come in replicate. There we go. Replicate what Lonzo Ball gave. So let's see. Let's get to work. Overall, I'm very much happy from draft night. These guys definitely could be in the NBA level. I feel like they're NBA talent. Watching them, seeing what they can do. Like, honestly, my hot take from all this is if Julian Phillips had, you know, a better burner, I feel it's like 34% he would have been taking the first round. Not the lottery, but the first round. That's where I see him. But you tell me if I'm going crazy, am I not? What did you think about draft night? I'm happy with it. Very pleased. Can't wait to see what happens in free agency. Do you think we're going to the tax? Who knows? Thank you. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, comment, dislike, tell me what you don't like. I'll see you when I see you.